So every night, I don't know if the perpetrator's in here that turned me on to this. I have 2 little dark chocolate peanut butter cups. They're this big. Okay, sometimes I have 3. Every once in a while, 4, but not more than that. Never just 1. And I savor that. I look forward to it all day. It's my treat for the end of the day. I savor it. I put them in the freezer. They're frozen. I suck on them. I just get the chocolate first, and then the peanut butter, and I just love those. And so why I'm sharing this is because we're talking about savoring. And what do you savor? And I savor chocolate peanut butter cups. It's kind of like the stop and smell the roses when you're savoring something. Pay attention to the little things, the little peanut butter. Stop and taste the chocolate. Stop and taste the chocolate. So this week I was meeting with one of my teachers from the Spiritual Directions program, and she asked me, how are you going to savor this experience, this experience that she and I had together? And I'm like, wow, I've never been asked that before. Am I actually going to savor this experience with her? And I started thinking about the chocolate peanut butter cups and how scrumptious they are. I mean, just use those words. When you use the word savor, use the word scrumptious, just this sense of gratitude comes, doesn't it? When you a scrumptious piece of chocolate. But that word savor is about making something last. It's about enjoying it completely. It's intentionally focusing your attention on the goodness of that experience. It can increase your happiness. It can increase your sense of gratitude. It can increase your quality of life when you savor. And I don't mean hanging on to those things that, that we don't like to experience. I'm talking about the positive experiences, savoring those experiences, savoring those moments of greatness, those moments where you feel the fullness of life, where you feel all the joy and all the playfulness and all the fun and all the happiness, and to savor that. It works together with gratitude. If we can savor those things that bring us fulfillment, we can be more in a state of gratitude. It brings us more into the present moment. It helps raise our vibrational frequency. And it actually changes our brains. It actually hardwires our brains to change. Even when we're challenged, if we have a practice of savoring and hanging on to those good feelings, we're going to be able to face those challenges more easily. One of the best emotions to savor is gratitude, being in a state of gratitude. It brings many physical and mental health benefits. Gratitude. And we're in this month of November. We're coming up on Thanksgiving, and what a great time if you don't already have a gratitude practice to find one that works for you. Get in a state of gratitude. People who practice gratitude actually have more brain activity in the prefrontal cortex of their brain. They make better decisions. They learn faster. They learn better. They learn smarter. It's an attitude. Gratitude is an attitude, not a platitude. Not a platitude. There's a little girl that was sleeping over at her aunt's house, and her aunt was putting her to bed, and she said, okay, honey, remember to say your prayers. And so the little girl folded her hands and was saying her prayers, thanking God for all the people in her life. And when she was finally done, the aunt said, oh, sweetie, that was so beautiful. You pray with such a sincere heart. And she said, if you think that was good, you should hear me gargle. She was praying out of rote. She was praying out of a sense of obligation. And we don't want to give gratitude and thanks out of a sense of obligation. We want to give it from a mindfulness, an attitude that we've developed. In unity, our third principle is that our thoughts change the experience we have of life. It doesn't mean that we can change outer circumstances, but we change how we experience them with our thoughts. And so if we have this attitude of gratitude, we actually change how we experience life. We're more able to see the good in things. Eric Butterworth says this so great in Spiritual Economics. When you feel grateful, you become great and attract great things. We grow rich by thanksgiving, and we grow impoverished by losing the spirit of gratitude. Now, we may feel grateful because we have so much, but maybe we have so much because we are grateful. It's a different way of looking at it. Many of us pay attention to the headwinds in our life. We pay attention to those things coming at us, those obstacles, that resistance, instead of the tailwinds that are behind us, pushing us forward. Gratitude is like that emotion that pushes us forward to experience life more fully, to experience the great moments, the great fullness moments. Savor those great fullness moments in your life. And when we don't, we tend to focus on lack. We tend to focus on what we don't have. When we don't have a grateful heart, we're not focused on the whole story. We're seeing the view from a bottom level, not from the top level. We always want to get the view from the top, the widest view we can get, the biggest perception of it, the most expanded view. Because regardless of appearances or limitations or conflicts, there's always more to it than we are seeing. And in a state of gratitude, we're more open to seeing the whole story, to getting the view from the top. It can change your life. When we look at the allness of life, the fullness of life. Eric Butterworth goes on to say in Spiritual Economics, gratitude is not an emotional reaction to the blessings you can count. It is an energy you stir up within you that is causal. It causes things to happen in your life. It's not an obligation to be grateful, although it's nice to be grateful when we receive something, but it's more of a way of living, a way of being. Having this attitude of gratitude. We can be grateful for something, but it's much better to be grateful from something, from an awareness of who we are as spiritual beings, from an awareness of all the goodness that we have, all the goodness that we are. See the view from the top. Jesus always looked up. In all of his stories, before he has any kind of demonstration, he looks up. He gives thanks in advance, giving thanks in advance of some demonstration, of some expression. He gives thanks. He gets that higher view. It's not to look up because he's thinking God is up there. He knew where God was within each of us. But it's to take your focus off the situation, take your focus off the circumstances, and see from a higher view. One of the stories in the Gospels is about the raising up of Lazarus. Most of you have probably heard it, where Mary and Martha were the sisters of Lazarus, and they send word to Jesus that Lazarus was dying. And Jesus doesn't hurry there to see his friend Lazarus. And when he gets there, they're all upset because he's been in the tomb for 4 days. And Jesus, and he just says, roll away the stone. Roll away the stone. Lazarus, come forth. Now, we don't have to believe that this actually happened this way, that somebody can bring a corpse back to life. Because in unity, we look at the metaphysical meaning of a story. And metaphysically, I see this as calling forth something that has died in us, calling forth something that has maybe gone to sleep in us. Maybe it's our joy. Maybe it's our playfulness. Maybe it's our happiness. Maybe it's our gratitude. Maybe it's all gone to sleep. And the Christ in us, the spiritual part of us, the divine part of us says, all it has to say is, move that obstacle and come forth. Look at it from a higher view. Jesus looked up before he said this. He looked up. He gave thanks and he said, Lazarus, come forth. Joy, come forth. Playfulness, come forth. We have this capability within us. It's called the power of life, where we can give life to anything we choose. In consciousness, we can choose to say, I'm giving life to that playful part of me. I'm giving life to that happy part of me. We get to choose what we give life to and what we enliven in us. Call it forth. Gratitude can do that. By being grateful, grounds you in the present moment. Savor those great moments. Call it forth. Melody Beattie was an author, and she says this: gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. I just thought that was so beautiful. Gratitude. We can savor the past, the present, and the future. Gratitude can help us do that. I was looking this week for, just doing some research for this talk, and I came across a link on Google that said, Rock Your Life. And I clicked on it, and it was called Savor the Gratitude, it was called. And so I click on it, and it's a podcast, and I'm not really big on listening to podcasts, but something about it called me. So it had a picture of a skull and bones. And I'm like, okay, this is a little weird. And I clicked it, and it's a podcast, and they're playing this really loud rock music, which isn't my style either. And I was going to turn it off. I'm like, let's hear what they have to say, you know? And it's a woman who's 39 years old, and I couldn't get her name from the link. But she was 39, and she had a health scare and thought she was having a heart attack. And she talked about savoring gratitude, savoring it from the past, savoring it from the present, savoring it from the future, which I thought was really interesting way of looking at savoring. I always thought of it as a present thing. But think about how we savor the past with our memories. I facilitated a memorial service yesterday, and there were beautiful memories of this person. They were savoring their time with him by recalling memories. And then savor the present. Bring it all into the present, because it's in the present moment that we experience it. My daughter, most of you know, my daughter and her husband and their dog Dusty moved to Colorado this summer. Dusty hasn't been doing so well, and they kept taking him to the vet, and he had different symptoms. And about a week and a half ago, they did some ultrasounds and found cancer all through his body. He had lots of tumors, and they did a biopsy, and it was cancer, and it was a rare form, an aggressive form of cancer, and they said he doesn't have much time at all. And so my daughter, I'm so proud of her for being so present for her dog, she and her husband. They created a bucket list for him. They did so many fun things with him, and they took lots of pictures and videos, and they gave him his last meal, which was a Wendy's bacon cheeseburger and a Frosty, and they made a video of it, and they let him, it's so cold this past week, and they took him for car rides and let him stick his head out the window, and they went on one of those bicycle things through downtown Denver, and they rented some space in the mountains, 2 acres, where he could just run and play in the snow, and they were totally present for him. They were savoring the present. And now they have pictures that they can savor the past. They put him down on Friday. I know, sad. He made me want another dog. But what a beautiful, beautiful example of savoring the present, creating space to savor the past with the pictures, and then savoring the future. Because in future moments, as they're going through their grieving, they have this to come back to. Another person who I found on goodnewsnetwork.org, Cheryl Skiatos, she's in her 70s, she's a grandmother. She decided she has 13 grandkids, and she decided she was going to watch 30 Marvel movies, so that she has something to talk to her grandkids about. So she watched 30 Marvel movies, took notes on them. One of her granddaughters was staying with her and took a video of her watching it, put it on TikTok. It went viral. But she's savoring the future conversations she's going to have, the future connections she's going to have with her grandkids. She said Thor was her favorite because he was hot, which I thought was cute. But we can savor the past, we can savor the present, we can savor the future, and be in a state of gratitude through all of it. Bring ourselves to that place of gratefulness. There's several people today that I want to thank. I am very grateful for, first of all, I'm very grateful that I have work that fills me, this community that's provided this for me, but I also want to thank. And I know I asked our founders to stand last week, and I don't know if Pat Foss is back there. I know she's here somewhere, but savoring the past, savoring that our founders had the vision, had the courage to create something different. It was beautiful, and we get to savor the present because of their vision in the past. So thank you, Colleen, George, and Pat. Thank you. Our board of trustees who work tirelessly to make sure everyone is heard, to make sure we're financially solvent, to make sure we have everything we need to stay financially healthy. Our board members, please stand. Thank you so much. Our staff who works here day in, day out, without whom we wouldn't be able to do anything, who are extremely supportive of me and supportive. They give passion and their energy to this ministry in so many ways. They give of their hearts. Staff, I think there's just you, Janice, stand up. And Carol Nelson is here someday. Today is her last Sunday, so if you see her, you can wish her blessings. Ann is off today, but so grateful for our staff. Our sacred servers, we have a lot of people that help out here that do a ton of work, that we couldn't do what we do here just on the 5 staff that we have. We need our volunteers, and so we are so grateful. If you've volunteered in any capacity over the last year, please stand so we can just acknowledge you. It's a lot of you. I'm sure being a volunteer, I know from my own time when I volunteer, when I give in sacred service, beyond and above and beyond, that you feel this connection. You feel the joy of giving. You feel a sense of belonging. And that's what comes from volunteering. So any of you that haven't stepped into sacred service this year, we would love to have you. We welcome you into the fold of our sacred servers here at Columbine. And we're grateful for anyone that wants to help us out here in creating this community. And so for everyone else who just comes, and I don't mean just, but it's a big deal to come here, to be part of this service, to step into a community, to be, especially when you're new, to come and be part of this and add your beautiful presence and be part of this whole. Help us be one. We are so grateful for everyone else that steps through these doors, whether you're here the first time or you're here 50 times or you've been coming for years and you just don't have the time to give as a volunteer. We are grateful that you come here, that you watch online. We're grateful for everybody that's watching online. Thank you. People online, you're all adding to this community, to this sense of belonging, to this sense of connection that we're trying to create. Savoring this present moment right now. I'm so grateful for all of you. And yeah. And I'm going to single one person out, and that's my husband, who's a mega volunteer, who supports me, supports this community. Tomorrow's his birthday, so can I wish him happy birthday? He's so supportive of me. Just so grateful for all that we have here, all the blessings that we've received we made it through 3 years of the pandemic. I mean, come on. Do you know how there's so many churches that have closed, spiritual centers that have closed their doors over the last 3 years. It's incredible. And here we are, still strong, still going. It's savoring. We're going to savor the future by envisioning it a greater reach, a message that brings more people to a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose and a sense of knowing who they truly are and knowing their worth and their value. And that's my vision for everyone that comes here, everyone that listens to a message or watches online, that we savor that future as well. So I'm grateful. Are you willing to savor these moments? The past, the present, the future in your life? Are you willing to see the view from the top instead of looking at the circumstances? See the greater view. Be in that state of gratitude. And this Thanksgiving, have something you're really, really thankful for. And come from that gratitude, that attitude of gratitude, not just a platitude, but a true attitude of being grateful and seeing your many blessings. Martha Stock says this in Listen, Beloved. Do not wait to give thanks until every prayer is answered. Do not wait to give thanks until things are perfect. Give thanks where you are, in the present set of circumstances, in the conditions in which you find yourself. Give thanks for life. Give thanks for this day at hand. Give thanks for the opportunities to grow and learn. It's by savoring these moments of great fullness, we can live life of joy, live a life that means something, live a life that touches each other. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Namaste.
Thanks so much, Sue.